Florida's authoritarian governor Ron DeSantis has decided this week that he would rather see poor children starve than to have to protect the rights of transgender individuals here in the state of Florida. During a press conference this week, Ron DeSantis decided to go after the USDA's decision to include transgender people as part of their list of folks that you can't discriminate against. And since the USDA is the group that provides the SNAP benefits that help pay for free school lunches for low-income children, if you do not comply, if, of course, you are found to be in violation of the anti-discriminatory policies set forth by the USDA, you simply will not get funding for low-income students to eat in your state at school. So Ron DeSantis had this to say. And by the way, these provisions from the USDA have actually been in place for months. DeSantis just decided to try to flip the script on them this week. He said, quote, "They're threatening to take away lunch money from poor kids as punishment from us protecting women's sports. They're so intent on destroying the competition of women's athletics that they're going to use school lunch money for poor kids as a cudgel to try to get us to submit to what they want. We're not backing down 1 inch on this." Which, of course, means that if the USDA chooses, schools in Florida will not be receiving funding for low-income students to have free and reduced lunches. DeSantis is such a bigot that he would rather see poor kids starve than to have to admit that transgender people are in fact human beings that deserve the same rights and protections as the rest of us. The sanctity of women's sports. Do you think Ron DeSantis or any other Republican in this country actually gives a damn about women's sports? Do you think they could tell you who the last national champions women's college soccer team was? Do you think they could name a handful of professional female athletes in this country? I promise you, none of them could. Because they don't actually care. And this, by the way, isn't even actually a problem here in the state of Florida. It's not like we have a bunch of transgender women just lining up to go and play sports here. That's not happening. Are there some? Sure. You could count all of them on less than 2 hands. And so now we have legislation allowing our government to be filled with bigots to promote their bigotry, of course, at the expense of poor kids being able to have lunch at school. So, if you're an educator here in the state of Florida, get ready, because you're going to see more children sitting at the lunch table as all their friends unpack their lunches and they sit there with nothing, hoping that maybe one of their friends has an extra bag of chips that they don't want. Maybe somebody will share half their sandwich with them. Maybe. Maybe the kindness of the strangers and their friends around them will allow them to have a full belly for that day, because God knows Ron DeSantis isn't going to let that happen.
This is Hattie. Hattie wants to know why you have not subscribed to our channel. You obviously like our videos, so do us a favor and subscribe.